Booktube, we are back. And we are back with something super special today. I was in Los Angeles very recently, invited by Apple TV to interview a living legend. A living legend that has wrote countless of thriller novels, as well as screenwrote for some amazing movies like Shutter Island, TV shows like The Wire, which is near and dear to me because I'm a Baltimore native, as well as a new TV show called Smoke, which is streaming on Apple TV now, which is one of those TV shows that's making me put the books down. I once again want to thank Apple TV for the amazing opportunity to interview this living legend. The living legend is Dennis Lehane. Happy reading or happy watching. Dennis.
Hey, how
hello
are you?
Again.
Good to see you.
Good. This has been great. So I talk about books online, and Smoke is probably one of the only TV shows that made me put the books down. So congrats to you on that.
Thank you very much.
But I'm also a Baltimore native, right? So The Wire is near and dear to me.
Okay.
And my question to you, at least to start off, is when you wrote The Wire, obviously that was like 2004-ish.
Yeah, it was 4 or 5.
Yeah. How have you grown from a writer since, things like The Wire to Smoke?
Oh my God, how haven't I? I mean, I didn't know what I was doing on The Wire. I didn't have a clue. The first script I wrote for The Wire, I think maybe 40% of it made it to the air.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how it works. And Dave and Ed, they wouldn't even consider not giving me credit. And then the second script, I think, was around 80%, and then the third script was, I think, 100. And so, boom, getting better and better, and starting to learn how to really do this. Right. I believe deeply in the 10-year rule. I really do. And that even means it's not just writing. This is a different type of writing. And so I came as a novelist into The Wire. I don't feel like I felt like I mastered screenwriting.
Okay.
Like I felt like, not that I've mastered it, but felt like I'm 100% comfortable doing this until 10 years after The Wire. It was when I was on Mr. Mercedes.
Okay.
And I had to write nonstop for production. And the first season, I was constantly changing. I was just on. I was the head writer. David had gone off to do Big Little Lies, and so that's when I remember saying, "Oh wow, it's 10 years. Like I feel like I could do this in my sleep right now."
Oh wow.
And it took 10 years. I never had that confidence when I was on The Wire. I never had that confidence when I was on Boardwalk. I never had that confidence when I was on. I had confidence as a consulting producer. I think I was very good at walking into a room, looking at everything on the wall and knowing what wasn't working. That I always had. But in terms of knowing how everything in a script is so the embodiment of less equals more. Everything. That a great actor can do more with a look than you can do with 2 paragraphs of dialogue, Yeah. So once you finally figure that out and lock down on it, that's when you know you're a screenwriter.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time.
And then 10 years later, now you have Smoke, which is
now we have Smoke.
Incredible.
Exactly. Yeah. So
you write these characters that toe the line between right and wrong, in almost everything that you write. So what attracts you to those morally gray characters, for you to write them?
I don't know. I've never seen the world in black and white. Never. I don't know too many evil people, and I don't know too many angelic good people.
Yeah.
I know everybody's just in the middle. We're all just messy and stupid and sometimes heroic, and the hero yesterday can be the villain tomorrow, and you see that over and over again. And I think it's just human. I always, Vincent van Gogh said to his brother in a letter, trust the gray. I've always had that in my heart. I just remember the first time I ever saw that letter and being like, that's what I believe in. I believe in the grays, and that's my world.
Yeah.
That's my world. There are no real big heroes in even the villains. Even the villains are kind of mostly understandable.
Yeah.
So,
and let's speak about one of those understandable villains, and let's talk about Freddy. I keep going back to this scene, the haircut scene, and maybe my take is different from maybe other people because, as a black man, I know what that haircut means. Not only to him, but to Brenda, who's given that haircut. She knows that will change his life.
Yep.
Now, for you, when you wrote that scene, did you understand that from that perspective?
Yeah. So my wife is African American.
Okay,
So
nice, yeah.
so she gave me a crash course the last several years on a black woman's hair. often to very comic effect. You know, she'd be like, "Do you know anything about a black woman's hair?" That's how it started. So I do know about that. I know about. I knew with Freddy, what I saw about Freddy was Freddy is the loneliest man I could ever envision. He's somebody who's chucked out into the world with no skills. He has no social skills. He has very limited intellectual skills. He's just God's lonely man. That's how I saw him. Yeah. And so when he agrees to sit in that chair and get that haircut, and she puts her fingers, that's where I got the image. I got this image of her fingers going into his hair. This is a person who probably hasn't been touched tenderly in at least, and this is an optimistic assumption, 25 years. Yeah. And so for him to be touched and to have her looking down on him, and we even tried to mirror the way that she looks down on him with, later you'll find out about the one person who was kind to him in his life, Miss Yolanda. And when he thinks of her, you see her, and she kind of looks just like Brenda looks looking down at him. So it's like this throwback to maternal affection, the only maternal affection this guy's ever known. And the only other thing I was doing, to be honest, is it's a little bit of a riff on one of my favorite films, which is The Crying Game, in a moment when he cuts her hair. He has to get to cut her hair to late in the film, and it was such a significant act, and I was just doing a little bit of that. I remember in the room just saying, "Any of you guys see The Crying Game? I want to do a hair scene, kind of like the mirror opposite of the one scene in the Crying Game," and that's where we came up with that.
Powerful scene. Like
people
are going to see that, and I mean, people who like me are going to see that, they're going to understand immediately, just the impact that's going to have, and then obviously he spirals from there. But
yeah, it's hope coming to certain individuals too late is a dangerous thing, and that's Freddy just doesn't have the tools to deal with hope.
Yeah. So what drew me a lot to this show, and again, like I say, I don't really watch TV, but this is a show that I love, is that it is very character driven. And I think we talked about there, like you wanted to kind of capture the characters. So my question to you, are you a character driven writer or plot driven writer? And as a reader, are you character driven reader or plot driven reader? So I think you're character driven writer.
So I'm a total character driven writer, but here's the thing. I think it's just a stepping. So you build your characters. Your plot comes out of your characters. The big mistake people make is to confuse plot with story. Plot is not story. Plot is the car, okay? Story is the journey the car goes on. So plot is just the way you get there, And so I always come in on character, and I always come in on sort of thinking then of what's the whole journey of this story I'm telling. I usually know a major aspect of my ending before I ever write a line. I don't know everything. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know where I'm heading. I know what my North Star is. And I knew it with this. I knew with this story. I knew exactly where the show was going to end. And when you see it, that last scene in the show, the 9th episode, when you finally do see it, believe me, I was always going exactly there. But again, I can't get out of bed to write a story based on plot. That's why I could never write, say, a big blockbuster. It's not my jam, man. I mean, it's not my jam. My favorite scenes in the world are scenes like this, two people sitting across from each other talking. Like, that's my favorite. And give me a dinner table, and I can rip. You know what I mean? But, that's what I like. So, and I always think of characters, ever since I was a young writer, very young, like really starting out, I always came into character through the flaw, not the strength. The strength, who cares? Like, that's for people who write Homeric epics and superhero movies. I care about what's the damage in this person? And how does that affect everything around them? And then that to me is really interesting, because we're all deeply flawed and we all have our issues. And I think finding out that somebody's divining characteristic is vanity's sake can tell you a million things. Or it's greed, tells you a million things. Or it's, in this case, denial. Everybody in this show has denial issues, except for one guy who shows up in the 5th episode, and he's a disaster, but he's not. He knows exactly who he is, and I liked bringing in that contrast 5 episodes in.
Yeah, awesome. And now thinking about Dave, thinking about Smoke again, like I feel like he's a character that can just get out of hand while you're writing it. Like he can do one thing after another after another.
Yep.
How do you like bring these characters in so they don't get too crazy?
You don't want them snickering. You don't want that snickering evil, like ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
You don't want him having the clever line when he does something really crappy. You just want to ground. You just keep grounding the characters, because this story gets so wild that if we didn't ground the characters, it would have become something just uncontrollable. Yeah. And so there were moments where Taryn and I would talk very seriously about, do we want Dave to be that knowingly wicked in that scene? No, we dial it back, we take it back. I think one of the more chilling moments in the show is when Dave tells a story about his mother. And he's having drinks late night with Michelle, and they end up getting into this conversation about people who claim to be victims. And Dave's reaction to that is to tell this story about his mother. And he doesn't know that the story he's telling is incredibly chilling and revealing. He has no idea. He's just telling a story about his mother. But it's all about Michelle having to keep her face completely straight as she's hearing something that really is her greatest entree into his pathology is right there in that scene. And then they move on. But we didn't want him to be like, let me tell you a story about how evil I am. He's just telling a story. And then it's the way he tells it that reveals so much about him.
And I think a character like him, it's like he gets close to the edge, but then he comes back. He's close to the edge and he comes back.
Yeah, he's always dancing. He's always, am I what you think I am? Oh, you think you got me? I just went over here.
And that's what really draws people in. Okay, so I like to rate books like online and stuff like that.
Yeah, oh great.
If you were to think of your perfect 5 out of 5, or even something that exceed your expectations for a book or a TV show, what would you say?
5 books?
No, like a 5 out of 5 rating.
Godfather 2.
Okay.
The Things They Carried.
Okay.
Tim O'Brien.
Okay.
What else? Okay Computer by Radiohead.
Okay.
It's trying to think about Perfection.
Perfection.
Exile on Main Street.
Okay.
Rolling Stones, without a doubt. I'll tell you one really recently where I felt like I just walked out and I saw a perfect piece of art. Sinners.
Okay. There you go.
And I came out of that like, wow. Like I was literally laughing in the movie theater at the audacity of some of Coogler's choices. I was blown out of the water.
Okay.
And that's why I do it. At the end of the day, I love this world. I love the world of music and film and TV and art. I love all of it. And I'm like, I feel sometimes we feel a little bit of, me and my friends will feel, who are in the business, we feel professional competitiveness, and that's healthy. That's really healthy. But we don't feel any professional jealousy. That's a very different thing. Or envy. This is not a zero-sum game. We are all in this together. We are all doing the same thing. I am the most supportive writer in the world. Like if I knew Ryan Coogler, I would have called him up 4 seconds after walking out of Sinners and just said, "You just made my week." That kind of feeling. I love that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, there's so much. There's a line I love. It's one of my favorite movies. Is Bull Durham, and there's a line in Bull Durham. He's just your father. He's as full of shit as the next guy. and I've always felt that, we are in so much trouble right now because people are so sure they're right and they're so sure that their cause is better than anybody. You're a fucking moron like your father was a fucking moron, like his father was a fucking moron. We're all idiots. And we have continually proven throughout the history of the human race that as a species, we're idiots. And we continually do the same stupid stuff. And so to think that you're somehow above that, to me, is a lie. And you're lying to yourself. I have good days. I have bad days. I have days in which I'm a really admirable dad. I have days in which my kids hate me. I have everything is, that's just one of these. I have days in which I write really good stuff. I have days in which I write stuff more embarrassing than anything you hear Dave do in the show.
Yeah.
So stop. Just
Yeah.
everybody just stop lying to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could have anything out of this show, that's it, because this is
that.
all about people who lie to themselves.
Yeah. Oof.
So,
Powerful.
yeah.
Powerful.
Thank
All
you.
right.